Hi, welcome again, Ingaris. Do you have something to take notes? I don't know what to title this message. I'm just going to read it. Many ministries annoy me. The more they tickle your ears, the more fame and support they have. I'm not sorry, but your favourite preacher is probably your favourite because they say what you want to hear, including the hard change statements they may offer if you are seeking that kind of message. I don't care if I'm hated for it, but most of them are in it for glory and or money. How many of them are really discipling? Matthew 28, etc. Whose fault is that? Theirs for wanting to deliver messages that appeal to grow their following, or yours for supporting those who deliver what you want to hear? I wonder if it is also true that the larger the ministry, the less likely they are able to disciple directly and fully. I don't care about the number of people listening, or more importantly to those ministries, it seems at least anyway, how much money you give. I don't get money for this or from this. I put it in. I'm not here for money or fame, as I'm not going to preach on things like that you might like. I'm here to deliver messages on things you need to know, as it seems to me that no one else is doing that. I'll give you an example soon, but I'm also here to create a complete hands-on practical program for people to learn deep things about God, to get their lives right, to then find their call, then train in it and launch with support as they do. This is discipleship. Who does that? Certainly not the major ministries, as the bigger the ministry, it seems the less likely that they do that kind of thing. Now back to the messages, which is only the first step. I talk about understanding God. And once you do, you will want, if you have really given your life to Him, you are compelled to act for God. So we then walk with you down that narrow path. And that's what discipleship is. Okay, so back to the messages yet again. I dare to say what I have never heard a preacher at any level say. Not those who speak to millions, not even those who have only a few people who listen to them. As I'll say, the most unpopular thing of all. And yes, I know a lot of people will reject me and stop listening to me. I also know many will speak against me, but so be it. In a moment, I'm going to say things that I have never heard, and I expect you have never heard unless you heard them from me. The very reason people avoid preaching these things is the same reason I must. It is so hard to take that they would simply lose most of their congregations. Here's the first. Hold on to your seat. Most of the people listening to this think that they are Christians, and often because they think they're doing Christian things, like going to church, is what a Christian is. But that's like saying a person that goes to a garage is therefore a mechanic. Many think they're a Christian because they said a prayer and do other things like care for the sick or give to the poor. And that's still meaningless. I say most people who think they're Christians don't even know what it is. And don't think right now, oh, so true. Yeah, there's a lot of people like that. Because the chance is I'm even talking about you. I've delivered many messages that include this next point in one way or another. I'm going to say it again, as I know I'm being generous if I say 99% of people don't understand it. I have never found one person, including pastors, who can explain the foundation of Christianity. Some are quite close and mention some crucial parts, but there's always one factor that all of them miss. And if you've listened to most of my messages, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you have not heard this from me or a source that can trace back to me, I think you have never heard this. And why? It's the foundation of salvation. So everyone who preaches must have preached it, right? No, none of them. Charis is the foundation of salvation. We can see that in Ephesians 2:8 and many other parts of the Bible, but Ephesians 2:8 is the most clear. So I use that. Do you have charis? No? Then you only think you're saved. You're not a mechanic because you hang around a mechanical workshop. I'm not going to pander to your whims like those so-called pastors, priests, or any other ministers, etc. I don't care about the congregation that I'll lose or the donations that I'll lose because they go away. I do care about them, and I do want them to remain. But I care that you're hearing the correct message at the potential cost of losing some people. And I care greatly for everyone that leaves. I am more overwhelmed by one person leaving than I find joy in 100 joining. I understand what Jesus was saying about the shepherd that leaves the 99 to go find the one lost. It really hurts when one person leaves, but so be it. If it's a matter of they're leaving because they're finding a message like this too hard, so be it. Because these are the things that God wants you to hear. Because God wants you to get your life right, not just to go to church and be a churchian. Oh, I'm saved because I go to church. No. Most people don't even understand what salvation is. So how can they say that they're saved? Including people in ministry. Who preaches charis? None I can think of. Yet I have a vague recollection that I've heard a message or two that incorporated it, but just one little aspect of it. They preach that it's unmerited favour. Sure, unmerited favour for what? Unmerited favour that does what? Unmerited favour is knowing the first, say, quarter of charis. It means far more. That's like saying school is where you learn math. If you limit school to math, you miss everything else. If you limit charis to unmerited favour, you miss most of it as well. Yet, if I have ever heard any explanation of it, I have never heard more than that. I've never heard more than unmerited favour. So, first, what's missing? That unmerited favour brings irresistible divine influence and inspiration in your life to such a degree that it is obvious to others. If you've heard me speak of this, I'm not going to apologise, as yet again I'm approaching it from a slightly different angle, and I'm adding here the irresistible factor that I think I've missed before. As I'm still learning about this amazing, powerful, extremely important word all the time. So, as I have new revelation, I bring it up again and again and again. Its irresistible factor is one of those new factors that I don't think I've really mentioned before. Thayer's description I've mentioned before. I prefer Strong's, but he got it from Thayer. So let's go deeper. After unmerited favour, Thayer says, the merciful kindness by which God, exerting his holy influence upon souls, turns them to Christ, keeps, strengthens, increases them in Christian faith, knowledge, affection, and kindles them to the exercise of the Christian virtues. Let's unpack that first. Merciful kindness. That's the unmerited favour part, by which God, okay, there's an action of God that comes from the merciful kindness, exerting his holy influence. So, if God exerts something, it's irresistible. And the irresistible thing is that they turn to Christ, not just in thought or by a sinner's prayer. No, there's more. Keeps, strengthens, and increases them in Christian faith, knowledge, affection, summing that they grow to be more Christ-like. And here's a really important part, because this is what all that is doing. And kindles them to the exercise of the Christian virtues. We are more on fire to live in the fruit of the Spirit, because that's what kindling means. To kindle something is to increase the fire. And the fruit of the Spirit is the Christian virtues, which is increased because of it. Let's put that back together. God's unmerited favour brings irresistible knowledge, strength, and exercises Christian virtue. If God is bringing you more knowledge of him and you are exercising those virtues, it is obvious. So Strong emphasizes the divine influence upon the heart and its reflection in the life, including gratitude. And a reflection in the life indicates the obvious factor of people being able to see God in your life, especially through exercising those virtues. So rather than try to memorize 59 words, I'll boil them down to the pure essence, 4 words. Obvious, unmerited, divine influence. Is that how people describe you? No? Then look at your life. You may still be keeping God on the outside because, as Strong said, it's an action on the heart. You will know when you have opened your heart and God has taken residence, as you will be compelled by God to what he has called you to. And I see so very few that are compelled to the degree that it is obvious. I've only just started on this. I'm not here to tickle your ears, to tell you what you want to hear. I'm here to scream at you, let God in, and if you do that, God will take over. But you can't let God in your heart if you keep it full of yourself, your ego, your pride, your desires, your self-defenses. There isn't enough room in your heart for both God and you. Which one do you want influencing and guiding your life? God or you? I see so many people acting from self. God's not there. When you let God in, you'll know it. And so will everyone else. A sinner's prayer means nothing if you don't let God in and replace that self-will. It's like knocking on the narrow door, but refusing to walk the narrow path once it opens. I'm not here to win friends, and I'm likely to lose supporters by saying this. I'm challenging your Christianity. People don't dare do that from the fear that they will lose support. And I don't care about losing support. Why? Because it's not about me. I'm just another mouth. It's about God and your relationship with God. If you're not sure of this, contact us. We want to help. Or stop listening to me, as I know many will. If you think you're sure, still, maybe not good enough. If you are driven by a compulsion to get your life right and share God from how he affects your heart because you let him rule, then maybe you've got it. But still I ask, if that influence is so powerful that others can see it. The merciful kindness by which God, exerting his holy influence upon souls, turns them to Christ, keeps, strengthens, increases them in Christian faith, knowledge, affection, and kindles them to the exercise of the Christian virtues. And kindles them to the exercise of the Christian virtues. Don't expect easy, uplifting, feel-good messages from me. Yes, I'd like this to be a large group, but a dedicated group is far more important. I could talk for many hours on this, as always, though for now I'll reduce this to how it relates to the foundation of salvation and Ephesians 2:8. In the ESV, for by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not of your own doing, it is the gift of God. Grace is translated from charis, and the second half is just repeating unmerited favour bit, which I've mentioned before, which is relevant. But I've spent a lot of time on this, so I won't elaborate that here again. So let's put charis in and then expand. For by charis you have been saved through faith. Now I'll expand on charis to give the the intended meaning, which no one teaches, and it seems no one knows, um, or maybe they're not teaching because they're afraid of losing supporters. But to me, it seems no one knows. Okay. For by obvious unmerited divine influence, you have been saved through faith. Do people really see God influencing you? And that doesn't include you preaching God at them, because, as mentioned before, being in a garage doesn't make you a mechanic. And even pastors, I ask, don't know the meaning of charis. So if you have not changed your opinion of me to dislike, I'm going to ask you to act on what I've said. Assess your life. Find out what others say about you. Don't lead them, but more importantly, talk to us. I know what I have said before in most cases hasn't meant enough for people to even comment on the post. Was this worth listening to? Then comment. Was this worth reposting to others? Then do it. Do you think others should join this group and watch more messages like this? Then add the comment, join this group, to your post. Don't do it for me. Don't do it for yourself. Do it for them. But more than that, don't even do it for them. Comment and repost if you think that's what God would want. That's all I care about. I do this because I think more so I am compelled in my heart that this is what God wants. Beyond that, this ministry can't come together on the back of one person or just a few. We need your help. We're not asking for money. We're not asking for ourselves. We're asking for people to help a godly cause for God, for their own sake, acting in their call, assisting others reach their call, etc. We'd like people with experience in those areas, though we can teach willing people who would like to learn these skills in most cases. So make yourself available. If you've got the skills, great, help us. If you haven't got the skills, great, we'll teach you. And we'll find out what your call is, etc. Please consider what you can do to help others reach the positions that God has called them to. If you can do any of the things that have been listed before, and if you're willing to give some of your time, please contact us. Let us know what you have experience in. I should mention what's happening in the ministry. We're going to have half-hour sessions every day of the week except for Wednesday, and they will be 11 and 6 at Brisbane time, and they will be live sessions via Zoom. And you can join, and we'll talk about godly things, biblical things. And if nobody joins, I'm just going to read the Bible and do a verse-by-verse Bible study, which I've been doing. Okay. One of the hardest things is to find people willing to act for God that are teachable. That's what we need. Is that you? Or are you one of the people that are just going to walk away? Govern well, encourage.